Hey, it's Chris here today from Huckabones Equipment. In today's video, we're going to have a conversation about mower decks and what size will best suit your needs. So in the Kubota lineup, there's a lot of overlap. They make from a 42 inch all the way up to a 72 inch. So let's have a conversation about the best one that suits you. Okay, so as we start this conversation off, we'll start at the very first question that you're going to get asked as you come through a door of a dealership is, you come in, you're like, I'm looking for a lawn tractor or zero turn. I'm not sure what size. They're going to ask you, how much grass are you cutting? The product specialist, that's the first question they ask you is, how much grass are you cutting? And the answer to focus on the small decks is usually around an acre. And then the follow-up questions after that are going to kind of dictate about which size you might be potentially looking at. So some of the questions you may hear is, okay, do you have any obstacles that you need to get into in and around? If you have a pile of trees, do you have a gate that is 48 inches wide? Are you looking to get between there to go from front yard to backyard? For storage, how big is your garden shed door? Will it accommodate that 60-inch deck you're looking at, or does it need to be smaller? All things to kind of, hopefully that'll be asked to you, and all things to think about behind the scenes before you even approach the dealership about which one you might be looking at. Whenever you start focusing on a 42 or 48, so you've come in, you've said, I have a 1 acre yard, and I've got about 15 trees on it. I don't really have any other storage issues. I've got a big detached garage and so forth. Nothing to worry about storage-wise. Which one would you say will work best for me? So I'm going to say it's either going to be a 42 or 48, whether it's a lawn tractor or zero turn, will be a personal preference. If you have a pile of trees, I'm going to say you more than likely want to look at a 48. That bumps you away from the obstacles. So as you come up to that tree at a 42, that rear tire is actually pretty close to the tree. You feel physically close to it. So whenever you bump out a little bit, that 3-4 inches, now you're that much further away and you're able to make that circle a little bit tighter, a little bit closer, and feel comfortable doing it. That's the biggest thing you gain out of bigger mower decks. Also a little bit of speed. So again, if you're that 1 acre, the difference between a 42 and a 48 inch cut is probably about 7 to 10 minutes on a full acre cut. So it adds up. It doesn't matter on the first cut or the third cut, but eventually you're like, it was nicer being done that much sooner kind of idea. So that's the small choices you can make at the smaller units. So now let's talk about the overlap of the 48s to a 60. Okay, so we've had a conversation about the smaller ones. Now we move up to the little bit bigger ones, and there is a ton of overlap here. So Kubota makes a lot of 48, 54, and 60s right through, and a lot of the zero turns carry right on through up those deck sizes. And then also your GRs go 48, 54. So a lot of choices there. How do you know which size to go with? Again, it all delves back to that first question. How much grass are you cutting? I'm cutting between 1 to 3 acres. You could go with either of those 3 deck sizes. It really comes down to how you want to go about it. If you don't have a whole lot of obstacles, you're just going back and forth and in and around stuff, and you don't really care too much about trimming, you may want to do a lot of that, is a 48 is perfect. You can get in and close to things, but still not as tight as what you're going to be on a 54 and 60. As you'll see right here on this zero turn, whenever you go to a 48, you are very close to the edge of that deck. Yes, there's still about 3 inches there, but you're going to feel it. Whenever you get into that very tight turn on top of itself, let's say that well casing over there, you're going to feel that you were very close to that whole time going around. That's going to bump you out, and maybe you don't want to rub that back panel or anything like that, so you're going to be very careful about it. So whenever you get up to a 54 60, you've bumped away from that, and then the choice between a 54 and 60, why would I choose one over the other, is generally going to be speed at that point. So again, if you're dealing with about 3 acres, and you can say that there's 7 to 10 minutes difference between cutting from a 48 to a 54, and again 7 to 10 minutes from 54 to a 60. So you can really start gaining time on every acre you're cutting, whether it's multiple lawns or one of your own. Whenever you get up to a 60 now too, is you can get almost in underneath things. So because it is that far enough out on the one side, you're talking about 8-9 inches away from any tire, where you could theoretically come up to a a fence and be able to cut under it and kind of dive, and that saves any and all trimming. Whenever you get in around the trees and well casings and everything, you are away from everything. What's the downside to a big deck? Really the only downside is storage. It does take up a lot of room. You have to have room for that, and you have to have room to get in between things. If you're row upon row of trees and they're 54 inches apart or even 60 inches apart, you're never fitting. It's just the nature of it. So you have to know that going in, what your obstacles are, what you're looking to accomplish as you're cutting grass. So let's now talk about the commercial 72 inch. Okay, so the only thing left in the Kubota lineup is getting up into the 72 inch. So whenever you start dealing with commercial operators, a lot of them actually go with the 60 inch. It's just a lot easier to put on a trailer at that point. So whenever you start talking about the 72 inch deck, you are going commercial at that point. There is a lot in the Kubota lineup that have 72 inches wide, whether it's an F series like what's behind me, the ZD 1600s and 1200s, all have 72 inch decks, and you can also get into your tractor lineup now of 54s, 60s and 72s, depending on what model of tractor you have. All the same ideas. 72s are nice once you get bigger ones for cutting grass, but get very difficult to transport as you need a very wide trailer. Say a gentleman has a fleet of lawn tractors, zero turns, whatever, for commercial cutting, you're going to see a lot of 60 inches and then one or two 72s because they do get big and bulky. So that idea of coming up to the trees and stuff all still applies, that you're able to stay away from it, but at the end of the day, it is still a big deck out the front that you need to watch obstacles on both sides. Getting in between stuff gets difficult to fit. So that's what you got to be mindful of as you get bigger into those decks. It would be nice if Kubota had bigger decks. Some of their horsepower units can really, like an LX 4020 for example, can really support an 84 inch wide deck. No issues at all. And Kubota has experimented with a 100 inch before. It didn't work out. It kind of flopped. But hopefully they go back to it. Again, same idea with a GR. In the near future, we're really hoping to see a 60 inch deck on that, as it makes life easier whenever you're cutting grass and trying to do it fast, because the bigger the areas are, and the quicker you want to get done, the bigger the deck size will help you with that. So let's jump now to kind of demonstrating a few of these cuts to show you how close you can get with different deck sizes. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed listening, having that conversation, navigating what mower deck would be the best for you, as there is going to be a bunch of different ways to approach it. Every dealership's a little bit different about what they might be recommending, and it doesn't matter whether it's Kubota, Husqvarna, Cub Cadet, your John Deeres of the world. They all have different size decks. They all have different lengths of time it's going to take to cut, and they all come at different price tags. So it's all which one suits your needs, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of background knowledge before you approach the dealership about which one will work for you. And because there's so much overlap and everything, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. It would start a great discussion, and hopefully we can help you with making the right choice for your future purchase. So if you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, please down below. Thank you.